Hello and welcome to Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenore, and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, your tea leaves are being read outside, so I'm trying a new microphone. I'm seeing if it will work, if it sounds good. Hopefully, it is. Everything is functioning. But welcome. We're going to get right into this thing here. Thank you so much for deciding to click on the reading. As you know, if you've been here, um, we read tea leaves, we chit chat, I ramble, I use you as my therapist, and sometimes we have a good time, sometimes, I leave crying. But I enjoy it all and I'm appreciative of our connection. Thank you. And let's begin. So the first thing that I'm seeing is we have it almost looks like a turtle up here, and I'm gonna apologize. My nails are filthy. Um, it is garden season. It is upon us. You might be able to hear around me. It's pretty loud outside. I live out in the middle of nowhere. There are a lot of birds. You can maybe hear some of the farm equipment way off. Now, here we go. We have the shell of the turtle. We have its head out. Now, on the back of it, it's almost a seated figure holding on to this turtle. Almost like the turtle is pulling a sleigh, if you could see right here. And then we have the person sitting, kind of also looking up, head up. So there's almost a sense of really honestly trusting the process. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me. I'm talking in the wrong direction. My goodness, I forgot that the mic was over here. Hopefully it sounds okay. But yeah, this kind of trusting the process, letting things go in their natural time, slow and steady, right? Like the tortoise and the hare. We all know that story. The hare is fast, and gets full of itself, and partway through this race that it's in against the tortoise, it begins to kind of slow down, take a little rest, maybe falls asleep, and next thing you know, the tortoise has surpassed it and ends up winning the race because it is, though slower than the rabbit, it at a steady pace. It's consistency, it's endurance, it is will in action. And so I feel like this image to me is like trusting in whatever it is that, maybe it's the harder way to do something. Maybe it's the longer, like, it's going to take a little bit more work, a little bit more time to do the resources to get things in line. But this is the way to do it, and keep it producing, to keep it going, to keep it, alive and thriving. And so, for me, as you know, if you've been here before, I always like to relate this to something of my own. But for me, this has been like with my wellness journey, my physical wellness journey. Um, at first, you really want to do everything all at once, don't you? You just want to get to your goals and push past them, and keep getting all of those kind of little accolades and all of that. But the real work is in maintenance, right? The real work is in consistency, is in, I think a lot about, like, you get sick one day, right? And you end up with a flu, and you have the flu for a few days, and it takes you out of your momentum. It takes you out of your routine. And getting back to that, getting back in the gym, getting back in the moving, in the training, in the mindset, that can be real difficult. That's and physically it's also difficult after you've been sick. So when I see this, it's almost kind of this reminder for you. You know, there is value in doing it the slow way, in the right way, right? Whatever it takes to get things done in a manner that's going to stick. And continue to work. Now, I think that you already know this, and I feel like this might actually be a situation where you are maybe tempted to switch course, right? To switch how you're functioning, how you're doing the thing, um, and go right in. I would say this could be something like all of a sudden you have this like fast track to a job you wanted, or into an industry you wanted, and it looks good, right? It sounds like a pretty decent deal, but here's the thing: you're going to miss out on the opportunity to be building your own skill set, or continue to network, or whatever it is within the place that you are already at, right? And instead of doing the whole series of things that you need to do, skipping over that, I just don't see that as being the right choice in this situation. Whatever this applies to in your life, if it is work, if it is relationship, if it is, uh, like, I don't know, trying to get debt down, right? And you find a fast track way. Really consider what you're doing. Really consider, is this really realistic? Is this going to work out in my favor? Am I going to end up paying more money in the long run? These kinds of things. So, let's get to the next. Now, we also have the number, it looks like 19 if we go upside down. No, I'm wrong. 79. 7-9. And we have a house. It looks like a house right next to it, right here. So we have the house. We have an older person right here. It almost looks like Goofy. Look at the head, the face right here. Here's the eye would be up here, and the silly nose, kind of like I don't know if you remember the cartoon. And then we have the body kind of almost like bending down to talk to somebody. And here's the hand up, and almost like it's holding something right here. It looks like we have a bag, like almost like a money bag, and then we have this U shape. Down here we have a person. It looks like they're grabbing the elbow. Here's the arm. Here's the elbow right in here. And I almost feel like it's like a grandmother. We have a pot over here. Maybe a grandmother that, well, she had the vision. I know that because we also have the flying bird here, and it looks like an eagle. So also like a storyteller, somebody who had maybe been accused of being a little eccentric, or just odd, maybe worded things oddly, or noticed things in a way that felt odd to others. Um, Somebody who definitely pattern recognition, um, definitely psychic, maybe an artist, maybe a writer, maybe none of these, maybe none of that, but still somebody who could really like tell a story, like sit down, was captivating, maybe was a teacher. I just imagine that there are children around, but it's not little babies. It's not like somebody who's, like a wonderful kindergarten teacher. This is like a very serious but open and flexible, and um, loves to like talk about the things that they care about. Could go on and on showing you their interests, their hobbies, where they went off in the world to study, and this is what they study. This kind of person, an intellectual, definitely. It seems like there maybe was some back and forth in the family. Um, Almost like this person was a black sheep, but they're almost always they're I feel like it's like they went off and maybe made more money than the family did. Let's just be real. And almost kind of was like looked at as kind of abandoning the family. They're too good. They're too good for the family. You know what I mean? In reality, I feel like this is a person who, though they had resources or they have resources, there's a lot of almost kind of a loneliness here. There seems to be this almost um, maybe an inability to form very deep relationships with people, not because they're like incapable of it, but maybe just, I don't know, not maybe not somebody who goes out of their way to like talk to people, and then they never really get, they don't talk to people besides maybe work or chit chat here and there with acquaintances. But getting to that next level of knowing somebody, you know, which I forget that, a lot of people struggle with this. Honestly, I don't know. I'm just like, how I am. I talk about anything. I talk about everything. And though I can pick up on social cues and like, note, I'm like hyper vigilantly noticing how you feel, how you make me feel, how the room feels, every little, micro expression when I'm talking and you're talking, all that. So, I'm aware of that, but I don't know. I just have got, the older I've gotten, the less I worry about just saying whatever I'm saying. I don't know. I just don't care anymore. I mean, I care for people. I want them to be comfortable. I'm like not going out here and being wild and saying things that are, disrespectful or overstepping, but I'm going to tell you. I'm just gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you about my trauma. I'm gonna tell you about my about my day, about the weather, about my hopes and dreams, my most hidden secrets, um, and so I don't super understand not being able to get there with people. But I know the more I look around in the world these days, I notice that people just really um, are not maybe taught to communicate with each other in way. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know. The internet. I think it's the internet. It's probably the internet. Um but then we find each other, right? You know? And anyways, we're going on about this person who seems to be, I feel like it's a family member, older, um and I feel like there's just a wound there that like really it reverberates through the family, because I feel like oh, there's a wasp visiting, coming to check out. I have a couple of rose bushes over here. I love the wasps. I really do. They're wonderful pollinators, wonderful friends. Um anyways, I feel like this is something that really, really has left its mark. Um, I can't help but feel like there's some kind of kindredness you have. Maybe you also are somebody who hasn't conformed to the family vision in some way, large or small, or maybe just a few things, or maybe all the things, who knows. But I feel like there's almost kind of this moment in your life where uh, this interaction, this kind of like pulling and division, and as I say division, look at this. I'm gonna put this over here to the side, but we have the division symbol, okay? And this is drying so fast because I'm outside. We also have, I want to point out the number 6, and we have a person looking at a flower. We have the house. I'm going to go over that. I don't want to get into that one. So I feel like this division, um, it almost has made you stay silent about things. I think that you don't feel that you can be open and sharing with people. Um, if that is kind of imagined or not, you know. So I feel like this is where maybe some work needs to be done, some contemplation. Okay, maybe looking at this dynamic within the larger family system, or it could be like a friends group or whatever this is. Now, I also think for one reason or another, there seems to be a sense of, it's almost like luck is like the nutrients in the soil have left the building. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to grow stuff, and you've been trying to grow and you've been trying to grow, but there's just something about the way something about the way you've been taught. I don't There's something about the way and that's it keeps it's like something you've been saying to somebody about like how you were raised or something. Let me see. Okay, so interference. Okay, so I feel like it's almost this sense of um you've been taught not to get involved in other people's business. That's the biggest thing. Is just, this is not your business. We don't get involved. Whatever. They'll work it out. This isn't for us to think about. But here's the deal is that you're passionately a truth teller. You're passionately like a you believe in justice, and I mean like not in like some subjective whatever. um you are somebody who follows the rules. You believe in the rules. You believe in the morality of things, the ethics of things, and of people and society and all of that. And um I feel like for you there is just this deep disconnect in matters that, well, like this thing within the family where I imagine that there's some like amount of we just don't talk about this. We don't, we don't get involved in this, and you know, whatever. But I think for you, it's like, and we have that Princess of Wands, so it is this kind of almost naive, and it's naive not in a bad way, in the way that's like this is where courage is, right? You have courage because you have no idea what could be behind the door, right? Because you're naive to it. But there's that passion. And I feel like for you, it's like I can't leave these things alone. I can't just let things be this way because it is making the family the family plot infertile, right? If you could think of like a family line as being like a plot of land, a field, right? And you have your own little section, your own little piece of that, and that's where your little garden is. but you're part of a larger garden, right? And if there is some material that is basically poisoning the soil or sucking out the nutrients or whatever it is, that needs to be dealt with. But if we keep saying whatever, don't talk about it, don't do, next thing you know, it's spreading. It's spreading through the ground, right? And everything is suffering. So I feel like for you, you're somebody who sees what things are, and you're not just gonna leave it alone anymore. I think that's the big part of this, and that's why we have that dude over there looking at that flower that's bending. We also have the house. It's like, and then we have the oil lamp, which I don't know if we can see it. It's right in here where the end of my pinky is. That is the oil lamp, which is like, you rub the side, you get witches. Now, this is uh, a symbol of luck in this situation, right? So I feel like it's almost impossible to get a win here unless some of this stuff is cleaned up. And I know it's like, well, how do I even begin to do that? Guess what? I don't know. I have no idea. But this is your work, right? This is the work that needs to be done. I can only get you so far, right? Oh, the family work, man. We spend a lot of time thinking about all of the self work we need to do, but we fail to talk about like the communal shadow work and the archetypes as through groupings within families or groupings within systems, and all of these things must also be processed and integrated, which that's whew, what an on taking, right? Okay, here we have repeating sevens. We have 12, 12. We have a boat. There's a wanting to go, escape, escape, escape. I want out of here. We have the person standing, head looking, gazing this way. We also have, it looks like a moon. We have a flower that's kind of bent this way. We have an empty boat up here. You can see waiting. And it's the dream. I want to leave. I want to go. I want to travel. I want to see. I want to live. I want to live. And so I think this is another thing, your restlessness, something that I feel probably another thing to be looked at, right? What is this restlessness? What are you yearning for? Really, not just the you know I'm restless for um 1972. I'm a 22-year-old dude south of France. I got like a little moped. I got my like hand rolled menthol, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And um, a lot of little walking around money, not a lot, but enough that you're feeling pretty good. You can pop that collar a little bit. You know what I mean? That, you know. I yearn. I yearn for this. This would be wonderful, right? Um, but these are things. These are things. And here's the deal. Here's one of the secrets of life. I think, as somebody who has often gone to places in my life where I've had to learn how to just deal with what things are, and I think we all have been there in my younger life more often than not. But what I've realized, and I think this is something that I see often within the magical systems, and it's usually called something different and, whatever, some kind of specialized name for for the thing they're selling. But basically, it is learning to walk into your imagination, to fully build out a memory, a daydream, a imaginarium, in which you can be that 22-year-old dude in the south of France, on the beach, riding around on that little moped, hanging out, having fun, whatever. Uh, you can access things like this by, well, I mean, it's active imagination, by building that reality out enough that you can feel it, and then spending time with it, right? Breathing a life into it, breathing life into it. um, and we can do this with anything. This is how we begin to go through those old moments in life, or we begin to build what we will manifest, right? To know it so well, to have been it for so long that it can't help but seep into our waking life. It is. It is our waking life. And really, that's what magic is. I mean, part of it, a little dash, I mean, magic is so many things, but this is one of the, um, I think, most sacred secrets, and it sounds very easy. Of course it does. Bro, what are you doing? There's a spider trying to fight me. It's on my phone here. Well, hello, you're beautiful. Ask your friends. I don't ever go after you. Listen, I'm not trying to fight you, my love. You're beautiful. You're gorgeous. You just checking out my phone? Okay. But this is the kind of magic that's accessible to us, but it honestly and truly takes great dedication, great devotion, um, so on and so. I mean, we can sit and say, "Oh yeah, you just imagine the thing, then you pretend you're in it, and then it happens." Woo! And that's very easy to say, but actually enacting it and being devoted to the practice and seeing it through is a completely separate issue. So anyhow, I ramble, I digress, I whatever. I love you. I love you. That's what it comes down to. You're dreamy. You have dreamy eyes. You have stars in your eyes. You are ready. And so it is. It's time to really kind of look at what is that thing that's pulling you away from center. And I'm not saying to get rid of it. I'm not saying it. You banish the feeling, the wanting, the whatever. But I think that there is a movement towards needing to be clear with yourself. That's that's where it is, right? So, anyways, I love you. Thank you for being here with me. We'll talk soon. Bye bye.